Hi, everyone, and welcome into my live. I am Coach Sherry, and I can't believe this is day 89. I feel like I missed a day, or I gave myself a day back, or I don't know. I just always felt like I had two more days after today. Tomorrow is the last day. What? Tomorrow is day 90 of going live every day for 90 days. Don't tell me tomorrow on a Saturday is my sweet 16 that I'm celebrating. I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to do if your birthday or your anniversary falls on a Sunday? You're supposed to celebrate it on Saturday. I am so excited. I can't believe it. This came so fast. I feel like I definitely have so much more content to share with you. And I want to say that's a great thing because I know many content creators, when they're on different challenges, be it a challenge to get their watch time hours up, a challenge to get more people to subscribe to their channel, a challenge like this, going live every day for X amount of days, or Vlogmas, things like that. They are so burnt out, and it's almost like they are all content out too. And it takes them a while to recover, to come back and bring more things to you. But let me tell you, I have so much more to bring to you, and I'm excited to continue this. Not necessarily every day going live, but definitely to continue being here with you. And I see early on, Landon Price came into the building, and yes, so much happened with Neo and soul, R&B, hip hop. It's a lot of things that are just, it's amazing how things have changed in the music. And breakdancing in 2024. What do you mean? Don't tell me that I might have to be in the Olympics after all. What? I can't believe that. That's so wild. They're adding so many new things to the Olympics now, and it's giving people like me a chance. That's how I look at it. I always said that I was going to do my DNA and be in the Olympics and represent the country that my people are from. And for years, I'm talking at least 15 years, I have been telling my cousins, like, y'all need to get it together because I want to be in the Olympics, and it's probably going to be a team sport. So initially, I wanted to do, wait, I wanted to do synchronized swimming. I wanted I wanted to do synchronized swimming. And so I was like, you know, y'all get it together, figure it out, whatever type of shower cap, swim cap, whatever you have to use. Um Whatever floating devices you might need, swimming lessons you need to take, whatever you need to do, we need to do this synchronized swimming thing. And then okay, that kind of was like unrealistic because first of all, you don't see any synchronized swimmers with floaties on or anything like that. So I was like, okay, they have that other thing called curling, and curling is a thing. So I was like, we can practice that at home. Just sweep the kitchen and you got it. There you go. And no one really committed, and that's the thing. No one really committed. So interestingly enough, we lived in Virginia for a few years when we were caring for my mom, and then when we moved back to Charlotte, and I was driving around getting reacclimated with the area, and I saw a curling gym, a gym that you can go and do curling. So I went inside because I mean, I've only ever saw it during the Olympics. I never even knew what that was before seeing it on the Olympics. And so I went in, and y'all, I think I could actually do it. So it is on ice, but you have special shoes. It's not even ice skates, but it's special shoes. You have someone that is like sweeping the floor or whatever, and you have someone else that's pushing the puck up to you, and you have to sweep, sweep, sweep while they pushing the puck. And it's like a three-person team. So absolutely. And really the only reason why I really want to do it is because those outfits in the opening ceremonies at the Olympics are everything. I love those outfits. And just imagine representing a country in Africa in curling. What? We probably would win just because people just wouldn't even believe it. They probably wouldn't take it serious, and we would practice again at home, sweeping our own house, and they wouldn't take us serious. And here we come. What? We ready? So, and you don't have to be. I mean, I don't know what kind of shape you have to be in, but I mean, they wear long pants, they wear blouses, jackets, or whatever, polos with shirts underneath it. I mean, I could do that. I could absolutely do that. So, but my cousins, nobody, and even my daughters, my son too. I'm like, we could be a co-ed team. What? But nobody really is going for it. So I don't know. Could you imagine? That would be just so crazy. I just want to be in the opening ceremony, so in real life. And then, when it comes to the competition, I'll be like, all right, well, where do we stand? What floor were we on? That would just be hilarious. We would be like the Jamaican bobsled team that time. Which again, stranger things have happened. That's why I'm like, it's not that far fetched. Stranger things have definitely happened. So listen, I wanted to come on here today. First of all, thank you again for being here. If you're here live, if you're in the bushes, welcome in, welcome in. If you're looking at this on the replay, let me know that you stopped through. Thank you. I appreciate you. But it's Friday night, and I Friday nights have always been a good time for me. I used to always love Friday nights. Not Friday, but Friday nights. Growing up, and especially as a teenager, that was like the start of the greatest things ever, which typically would either be the movies, a party, or going to the rink. And they, either way, except for the movies back then, but the parties and the rink was going to include hip hop. And I know that I've come on here and spoke about hip hop before, but I want to go deep with it. I want to know, when did you fall in love with hip hop? When was that moment in your life when you was like, this music is everything to me? And so as you think about that, and I do have some questions around that, I want to I want to just go into the history a little bit about hip hop. Now, I don't know if y'all remember this, but it's more than years ago. I might have to age myself, but a couple of decades ago, I remember when Mario Van Peebles' father, and his name is Melvin Van Peebles, he said that he started hip hop. And everyone used to be like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And put a red heart in the chat if you know what I'm talking about, if you know who I'm talking about. And that's Melvin Van Peebles. And let me know, do you remember him saying that he was like the father of hip hop, that he started hip hop? Well, he said that, and I had looked it up, and it said that he is often credited, he's actually often credited with influencing the rise of hip hop due to his groundbreaking work in film and music. And especially in 1971, there was a movie, it was called Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song. I've never heard of it. I never heard of it. So, um, if you've heard of that film, Sweetback's bad is bad ass song, then that's the song. I mean, that's the movie that they said was revolutionary in its portrayal of Black empowerment and resistance against systematic oppression. And it featured a soundtrack by Earth, Wind, and Fire, blending funk and soul elements that would later influence hip hop music. And Van Peebles' innovative approach to the storytelling, music, and independent production paved the way for future hip hop artists to express their realities and challenges. So, does that make him the father of hip hop? Did he start hip hop? I I mean, is that considered starting hip hop? Maybe because I hadn't seen the movie, and maybe if I saw it, and then I could say, you know what, he's low key, he's rapping. Low key, he's rhyming. I mean, I guess, listen, if that's the case, we could say Langston Hughes, he was a poet. Zora Neale Hurston. We can go on and on. All you have to do is put a beat behind some of their lyrics. Basically, is that rap? Because that's what rap to me is: poetry, poetry, emotion. You know. Uh, you tell me. Maybe I'm looking too far into this. Here lately, I've been looking very far into things, and I'm really trying to keep things surface. But there's so many deep levels to go, and maybe it's because of my visit to Biltmore Estates, which is the largest home in the United States. Um, and because they have so many levels and so many layers to that house, and I'm finding that in my real life, in my real world, that I'm just keep pulling back layers, and things just get deeper and wider, and the deeper it goes and the wider it gets, the better it is. So, but at the same time, I don't want to have information overload. I don't want to do too much. I don't want to know too much, have to remember too much, you know uh but all right, we can stop right there in 1971 with Mario Van Peebles. Are we going to give him that credit? Is that a yes or a no? If you could put that in the chat, if you could put that in the comments, is it yes or no? Is it Mario? Are we rocking with him? Are we going to call him the pioneer? Is that what we're doing? And so Slasher Chick is saying that Mario made a movie about his daddy making the movie. All right, do you remember the name of that movie? That is something, right? That is definitely. I listen. I hope he's doing okay. I haven't heard anything from him in a long time, him or his son. But I used to enjoy the things they would say. I mean, they did some great things in film and what have you. But they gave themselves some really good pats on the back. They gave themselves some really good credit. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you don't, who will? So kudos to them. And they had each other to be like, yup, dad, you did that. Yeah, son, you did that too. So that's good. That's good. Okay, so his was just called back. Did you see it? And what year was that? Because I need to see it. I need to see both of the movies. I really do. I want to see that. I want to give credit where credit is due for sure. All right, so let's look at the history of it. Where did hip hop originate? I mean, okay, let's say that it sparked something from that movie. I do recall my brothers having house parties and playing Strawberry Electric 22 and Good Times, and just continuously scratching it. Good, 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 good times. Listen, I know my voice. And plus, you know what? Low key, sometimes if and I've heard this other content creators saying this, that even if they sing a song, sometimes that can cause some copyright challenges too. So I'm not out here trying to sound too much like the record. But do y'all remember when they used to mix and scratch Good Times, and they would just go on and on? And to me, that was like the beginning of hip hop to me, because they weren't just playing the record straight. They were really mixing them and blending them, blending. The DJ was more than just the record keeper. He was the person that was making sure beats and such were, blending. So I I'm thinking, when I think about hip hop, I think about it's the start of it being right in that moment. And this is in the early to mid 70s. I want to say the mid 70s, like 77, 78, 79. That's when my brothers started having their house parties. So I'm thinking that was what you went to the theater when? What? Was it good? Okay, you attribute it to the Sugar Hill Gang, and I would too, because actually they were from around my way, and my one of my brothers was really good friends with Master G, and so you saw them. I saw them all the time. Sugar Hill Records is the next town over. Sylvia Robinson lived down the street from us. I used to go to her son Leland's parties all the time as a teenager, and I love to give my people credit, but I know that there was other rappers. It's just that Sugar Hill Gang was the first mainstream rap group. They were the first ones to get played on the radio, like nationwide, let's say, because we did have other rappers, eventually, especially, come on, and they had been rapping in the streets. It's just that they didn't make the radio. So okay, I'm gonna have to check it out. I hope I can find it. And you know what? It might be on YouTube. YouTube has a good you know, what's it called? A good menu, let's say, of movies and such. So I'm going to check it out and see if I can find it. Okay, right. That's why they made it. Sugar Hill Gang made rap more public. They put the mirror up and let everyone really see. So let's look at what, sources say about the origins of hip hop prior to it coming onto the radio scene. So it originated in the early 1970s in the Bronx, New York, emerging as a cultural movement among African American, Afro Caribbean, and Latino communities. And the origins again was in the 1970s. And so I just remember Rapper's Delight came out. It was about 1978. And I did share this story before when Greg Williams, he was a year older than me, and we took a school bus to school and he brought his boom box and played Rapper's Delight, and the whole bus was rocking all the way to school. Couldn't wait to get back after school. I'm sure the bus driver was probably rapping to it too, because the bus driver never even told us to turn the music off. No seatbelts, we didn't do all that back then. Windows open, we hanging out the windows, singing along, probably menace to society, just who cared. We was just having a good time singing Rapper's Delight to the at the top of our lungs every day of the week. All right. So then there was DJ Kool Herc, and he pioneered the breakbeat technique in 1973, extending instrumental breaks for dancers. And all right, so I remember the dancers, and I remember they used to have the cardboard boxes, and they would use that almost as their mat. All right. And let's see, ladies and oh, okay, slasher chick, all right, you moving ahead, you moving too fast, because I Roxanne Shante is in my notes, like she's all up in my notes. So we're definitely going to get to her. Y'all, I'm so excited just talking about this, because y'all have no idea how much fun I had on the weekends growing up, starting on Friday and Saturdays. Friday night going out, Saturdays, if I wasn't working at my parents' store, I definitely had to clean the whole house. I had to do something to be able to go out that night. And it was just a bop every weekend, you know. Oh my goodness. Okay. So then we have the four main elements of hip hop culture, developed by DJing, MCing, rapping, breakdancing, and graffiti art. So hip hop brought a lot of those elements together. It was really a community. It was definitely a collaboration of sorts. And really, if people could have pointed out all those great things that everyone was doing together as a collective, even, having battles, but no one getting hurt, you know, well, not all the time, but just somebody elder should have said, you know what, young people, what y'all doing is a beautiful thing. Y'all are creating something that it's well received. People from all around this area love it. And then especially once it became nationwide and then international, somebody really should have sat everybody down and been like, what y'all doing is dope. And just please don't mess it up. Don't get hooked on drugs. Don't do anything crazy with your money. Like, hang in there, because this is gonna be everything. These are lessons that are going to take you to the boardroom, not just in the room, but at the table. These are going to really skyrocket you. We're going to have generational wealth from this. Like, they should have really had conversations like that with them. I see Sassy is in the building. Hello to you. You're going to slow down. All right. All right. And Dilly Q is in here. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm glad that you really are loving these memories. And I hope you have memories too. If it's not of hip hop, it could be of any music genre. But I'm talking particularly tonight about hip hop. And I love all music, but that hip hop just does something to me. All right, everyone is speaking. Oh, okay, Charlene Hill is in the building too. Thank you. And you was introduced to hip hop in the 90s. It was DMX and Bad Boys for me. All right, all right. Yeah, that's when it started getting a little rough. That's when people stopped smiling. Back in the day when hip hop first came out, people had smiles on their faces. The performers, the people dancing, the backup dancers, everyone. It was a good time. It was a happy time. The energy was high. It was such a good feeling. And then when the West Coast came in, they made things more woke. That's when, the reality of life, I think, started to really show up for it. All right. So the old school era, they call it between 1970, the mid 1970s and the 1980s. And it's so funny because when I was a young girl and a teenager in those eras, those decades, we looked at the 50s and 60s as old school. And now, decades later, we're looking at those moments as old school. That's so funny. All right. And so the term hip hop was coined in 1979 by the Sugar Hill Gang in Rapper's Delight. Okay, so it was 79. So I was in the fourth grade. That means that Greg was in the fifth grade. Okay, so Rapper's Delight, to the hip hop, a hippie to the hippity hip hip, a hopper you don't stop, a rocket to the bang bang boogie, say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a tale. I'm rapping to the beat. See, and people used to sing to the beat, and then rap was I'm rapping to the beat. They called what they said. It's not singing, I'm rapping, I'm MCing. And there's a difference between MCing and rapping. Rapping is a little more sing-song-ish, and MCing is more like moving the crowd. So, all right. Y'all, I could trust. Oh my goodness. All right. So the early pioneers, they included people like Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa, and Curtis Blow. Curtis Blow just wants you to know that these are the breaks. What? And all of those I love. Grandmaster Flash, he was like a man of little words, but put him behind that turntable, what? Yeah, he was everything for sure. Yes, let me see. Oh, all right. I'm sorry. I'm just going on and on talking. Oh, thank you all for welcoming everyone in, saying hello. Sassy, I'm glad that you were able to catch this live too. And 80 hip hop and Friday and Saturday nights. All right. All right. All right. Dilly QU, you're like slasher chick at this point. You're moving too fast. The Rink is in my notes. Just like Roxanne Shante, the Rink is in my notes too. We didn't get to that part yet. I'm so listen, y'all are my tribe right now. Y'all are my people. Y'all understand. Y'all are in my head. Y'all are into this too. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's what's up. Yes. Listen, all right. Slasher chick, you might have to tell Dilly UQ to slow down as well because um they are moving forward and I have that. I'm going to get to that. We're going to have a good time with that too. Okay, you grew up in South America with the Caribbean culture. Oh, and see, and the Caribbean music is its own thing, that's its own genre. So it's almost like there was this club in DC, I remember, and I would go to it. I went to it a couple of times when I was in college. I can't remember the name of it. Ah, but it was like 5 levels, and each level it had a different music genre. It had go-go music, house music, club music. Club and house music are different, a little bit different. They had Caribbean music, they had hip hop, and so whatever floor you wanted to go on, that's all they would play on that floor. Versus if you go to a typical club, at least in let's say not everywhere, because some places they stick true to their genre. Like in DC, you're gonna hear a lot of go-go. Baltimore, you're gonna hear a lot of club music. Newark, that part of New Jersey, Central Jersey, you're going to hear a lot of house music. New York, New Jersey, Northern New Jersey, you're going to hear a lot of hip hop. DC, I mean, West Coast, you're going to hear a lot of like the West Coast type of hip hop. So, but there are some places, and really where I'm from, Well, when I was in college, more or less, because everyone in college was from someplace else. So the DJs were accustomed to playing something that would accommodate everyone. So we would hear rap, we would hear reggae, we would hear go-go, we would hear club, house, everything. So, you wait a little bit and your spot is coming and you can, go in the middle and do what you do. But at the same time, it got our ears to be able to appreciate all of the genres, and really be able to flow and vibe, and change up our moves a little bit to accommodate those songs, and to really be with it. So that was cool. But that's so cool that you grew up in South America as well, Slasher Chick. That is really cool. I love that. In the Caribbean. South America, did I say South Africa? I meant South America. Right, we had no guns. Fights was mano y mano, or on the dance floor. You have a dance battle, a rap battle. It's like, oh, everybody get around in a circle around the two people in the middle. You know what I mean? And then you have your crew. That's why I love that movie. It had that group. What was? Oh, man, I can't remember the name of that. It's a dance movie, and I love it even to this day. You can't tell, I know, because I can't remember the name of it, but it was really good, and that's kind of how it was. And people would prepare, like, all right, I'm gonna do this move. They would practice. That was really cool back then. And so, um, oh, Charlene, yeah. Charlene, you would have really enjoyed that first wave because you're so positive, and your energy is really, really light. And that's how the hip hop was in the beginning. It was so much, it was fun. You couldn't wait. Listening to it would put a smile on your face. Listening to like DMX and stuff, I enjoy DMX, don't get me wrong, but that's more of a head nod. That's more of a, you serious. You listening to that hard beat, and it's just doing something to your whole body. You listening to the seriously listening to the lyrics of West Coast. But that rap music back in the day was fun. It was so much, and it was relevant. They was storytelling about stuff that was going on that was funny, because back then people used to always joan on each other, crack jokes on each other, and it was a lot of things were funny, and it was just like good clean fun for sure. Yes, because to me, MC means move the crowd. Yes, what you know what that make you want to clap to this. I love it. Oh my goodness. I love it. All right. And Charlene is saying, I came to learn about the political energy and fight for freedom being the OG rap and hip hop. Folks used it to serve their own purpose as it threatened the status quo. Yeah, it did. And it did. And so it definitely got serious. It absolutely did. And it made a lot of changes, but it also changed the way that a lot changed with that, and now a lot changed. People became more aware, but a lot of things changed, not necessarily for the good, for our culture, for our people within that change, or that awareness that it brought on, for sure. Um, yeah, yeah, the real conscious ones, you don't hear. Those are the ones that are, you know, those are the ones that were selling their tapes in the trunks. Those are the ones that are in the underground even to this day, but they're making it. They're doing good. There's a whole avenue for them as well, but it's hard to get to it. You don't always hear it, and especially if you're not going into those clubs, or you're not in that scene anymore. I know there's a lot of music that even my children listen to that is not on the radio at all. I don't even know how they find it. I mean, I guess when you're young and you're in that mode, and you know where to find the music, because most of the songs they listen to, I'm like, who sings this? Where's this? Where'd you find that? And it's really good stuff. But you don't hear it on the radio like that. The radio has their own set. I feel like the radio just has like one. If it's let's say it's a cassette tape, I know they don't use cassettes anymore. They use some type of cloud recording device, whatever. But I definitely feel like they just have one set, and they pop that in, and that's what they play for, if I'm on the air, then this is my set. If the next person, and it's the same one every day, because if you listen to the radio in the morning, especially like a Steve Harvey or your local radio station, and if you just pay attention, and if you listen to it around the same time every morning, not only the format, I get it, but they need to have a format, just like we need to have a format here on YouTube. I'm on day 89. I'm still working on that. All right. But listen, that's their job. That's what they do. And if this was, my full time thing, or, bringing in a stream, then I definitely would be like, all right, what do we got to do? Although you want to practice how you play. So I'm trying to get it together for it. But at any rate, I digress. But, if you listen to the radio station every day around the same time, I promise you, it's going to be the same music. You're going to hear the same music. You're going to hear the same commercial breaks, all of that. And so, when does a new artist or a woke artist have an opportunity to get any kind of airplay? And again, I know for back in the day, especially when hip hop started, and I'm going to get into that too in terms of DJs. New York has some serious DJs, and I'm not going to say their names right now because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But they would play emerging artists, because during the day, especially in the beginning, they didn't play hip hop. They only played it maybe like for 3 hours on Friday nights, 3 hours on Saturday nights. So you getting ready, I think maybe it started around 6 or 7, maybe 7 o'clock or eight, maybe. I can't remember the time, but it was at in the evening, late evening. And you listen to it until you get to the party. And that was so dope to me. So you got it on in the house, and you have it up as loud as you can, and dancing around while you're getting dressed and ready. You may have your friends come over so they can get ready with you or whatever. And then, you go to the party and you continue on. Then you leave the party, and unless you have a cassette tape, no 8 tracks. We were beyond that. We was cassette tapes. What? You put that cassette tape in because you recorded the radio station before you left the house. So you take that cassette tape and you pop it in, and you let it continue, and just have a good time. But now you don't even have that. So I'm not sure how they make it, but I don't see how. And Charlene said, I cannot speak from a well informed perspective, though. Okay. Yes. Yes, the clubs back in the day. Right. It does, Charlene, but it's also part of the hip hop too. So there's the MC that moves the crowd, the one that's like the hype man. They're the ones that are, getting it all together. So it's the same concept. It's just not as, they're not behind the podium per se. Oh my goodness, go-go. You would actually really like go-go, I think, especially if you like reggae. It's a faster beat than reggae, but it has the drum element of it. You can definitely feel the African undertones and beat to it. It's really nice. It's good. It's DC music. Yes. Okay. Let me see. Right, South Carolina. My mother's people are from South Carolina. Oh yeah, Roll Bounce is a good movie. Yes, that was the roller skating movie. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Flavor Flav was with Boogie Down Productions. Will always get paid. They take the wackest rhymes and make it better. Just remember to let them in before you begin to master rhyming. Did you catch that, Slasher Chick? But yeah, no, did Flavor Flav, he was with he was with um Boogie Down Productions, I believe. And he was the hype man. So he was kind of like the MC. So he was the MC for them. Yes. The Oh my goodness, the clothes. I loved how we dressed. I loved how the guys dressed back then. Mhm. Public Enemy. Okay, Public Enemy number one, 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 one. You're right. One, one, one. Boogie Down Productions was the song. That's right. Okay, thank you. NWA. From California. I know I have one more day. Slasher Chick is a couple of days behind me. Okay. Oh my goodness. This I can't believe is maybe that's why I'm so hyped and yeah, because it's one more day. Yes, the pay to play. So if artists don't have that PR person, that marketing person, that person who has well intentions to help them get played on the air and, have those connections. It's like that management. You have to have a manager who has a circle of influence, but they would have to pay the money. And then that comes out of the artist's take. And so that's why, artists and I can't believe that things are still happening to artists in music as well as in acting. Because think about Monique's situation. It's like, girl, that has been happening since the 40s and 50s. People always tell you you have your manager and you negotiate. And Slasher Chick, about negotiations, and so they have people giving them jewelry, giving them cars, money, clothes, houses, and then they do very well in terms of their songs are selling, they're booking tours, they're doing well, and then they're like, why I only get $1,000? Like, what? Where's the money? You're wearing it, you're driving it, you live in it. They don't realize they have to understand that business side of things for sure. Yes. Ice Cube and Easy E. They did a good job, I think, on that movie. And I thought that was so amazing that Ice Cube's son played him in that movie about NWA. Yes. Oh, we dressed fly, Charlene. How did we dress? First of all, it started with the hair. Okay. So it was the asymmetrical haircuts, one side longer than the other, the back shaved, or like, I don't want to call it a shag, but basically that's what it was when you have it's long in the back. That's how my prom pictures were. And then you have it stacked up, bobbed up, all around. And I don't know if you can see in this picture. Let me see, because I have on bamboo earrings, at least two pair. This was at the LL Cool J in the hip hop concert during the anniversary, the 50th year anniversary. Y'all, when I say I had a good time at that concert, it's the end of it. So that's why everybody's leaving. But when I tell y'all I had a good time, what? I mean, I danced so hard, and I was with a friend who was probably, she's like 10 or 15 years younger than me, and she grew up in the South. And I think she might have grew up a little sheltered because she didn't know a lot of the songs, and I was whopping. Oh my goodness, I was having such a good time. Oof, it was fun, and everyone like dressed up. And I remember when I went to this concert, and I had taken a picture, and I showed it to my daughters, and I was like, this is what I'm gonna wear. I'm going to this hip hop concert, and this is the shirt I'm gonna wear. I have these bamboo earrings. They were like, what? And I said, I have my Adidas. They were like, what? Like, mom, don't wear that. That's not cool. There's nothing cool about that. Like, don't wear that. And I was like, no, I'm telling you, I'm wearing this. Cause this is kind of like, it wasn't, we didn't really dress like that. Like, I didn't wear t-shirts and things, but I did wear Adidas. I would wear jeans. I would wear bamboo earrings, at least two pair, all that. Have my Gucci bag on, everything, all that. But they could not understand, like, like, what? Was like, you going out like that, and what? When I got there, everyone was dressed just like me. I mean, but people had on Adidas sweatsuits, Kangos, Gazelle glasses with no frame, no lenses in them. Everybody had some type of hip hop t-shirt on. It was a thing, and I loved it. And then, moving forward, when Beyonce had her Renaissance concert, and everyone got the memo and was wearing the cowboy hats and boots and such. So let us have fun too. We get down like that. But Charlene, we would wear like leather skirts, bomber, beautiful coats. Our coats and everything were gorgeous. Leather bomber coats with hoods and fur on the hood, sheepskins. They call them shearlings now, but sheepskin coats, boots to match everything, riding boots. I remember I had a pair of red riding boots. I had some beautiful green leather boots. And then I wore glasses. So I would have glasses to match like everything was very granimal. Really, in real life, it was like granimal. The guys would wear fat laces in their sneakers, and girls too. Permanent creases, so people ironed their clothes, or they got the permanent creases sewn in at the cleaners. They would sew them. Latigres or Izod polo shirts, buttoned all the way up, gold chains, and that's what they had on too at the concert. Thick gold chains. They were even selling big, thick gold, like plastic but gold looking chains too, rope chains. People wear hats, Kango hats, you know. Just it was always something. It was, colors. It wasn't just all black. People would wear burgundy, gray, blue, green, just all whatever like colors. They would look for the colors. I think when we would go into the stores, we would never pull out something black. Pink, orange. Just it was very vibrant. I remember, was it cross colors, and they had all these coats with different colors on it. Lots of designer things, Gucci, MCM, Louis Vuitton, Fendi bags, just all kinds of things. Charlene, yeah, that's how it was. Right. I understand. The asymmetricals, oh my goodness. And my mother, she used to do my hair until I got into high school because she just couldn't cut that kind of hairstyle. So I was like, I can't have you playing around. Like I have to go to somebody for real. And my mother was licensed actually as a beautician. So people would come to our homes on Saturdays to get their Vigoros and their roller sets that would last 2 weeks. Don't ask me how, and all of that. And my mother was good with healthy hair, but in terms of like getting it the asymmetrical cut and this, that, and the other, that wasn't her thing. And she could have done it, and my mother was down to try it, but I was like, you can't play with this. She was down because she definitely was the type of mother that would color my hair any color I wanted. Like I was like honey blonde. That was a thing too, from Salt and Pepper. So Charlene, if you know Salt and Pepper, and if you look at some of their old things, like back in the 80s, that's the way they looked, was definitely it. Even, it got to the point where we were spandex outfits. It was a lot. It was a lot of things like that. Yeah. Yes, my Adidas. What? Yes, the shell top Adidas. Um, Now Adidas, they have all different types of variations, but I was really happy to see the shell tops when they came back about 15 years ago or so. Yeah, it was a vibe. It was a whole vibe. And it wasn't like, I don't even know who sent the memo out. It's just what we wore. It was, and the guys, they pulled their pants up, they wore belts, they tucked their shirts in. Charlene, it was amazing. It was amazing. Their jeans, they fit. They weren't baggy or slouchy or anything like that. They got their size. Their shirts weren't oversized. They actually bought their size. It was crazy. And the thing is, I look at it because those men are the fathers to the young men that sag and wear the oversized t-shirts. Those, their fathers are my age. And it's like, how are you letting your child walk around like that? That's not how you did it. The guys back in the day would wear leather blazers, really thin leather ties, they with their crew, just really neat. Always looked really, really neat, for sure. All right. Yes, MCM is having that resurgence, and I'm so surprised. Look, it's amazing how everything comes around. I'm so glad that I've kept quite a few of my things. I have a lot of great, now they're vintage because they're like 40 years old, 35, 40 years old. But my daughters, I give it to them. I have some beautiful, beautiful leather outfits that my husband purchased for me when we were dating. And I mean, the leather was so good. They don't even make leather like this anymore. And I'm so glad that I took care of it. And my girls wear it. I have some like some beautiful leather shorts. They're really short, but they're high waisted. A bolero leather jacket with French cuffs, and it doesn't have a collar. It's beautiful. My my old Louis Vuittons, I kept them in good shape. My girls use them every single day. So it's a lot that, you have something good when you buy something for real that's quality. Hold on to that. You just never know. It's going to come back around, and it's going to always stay relevant because it's quality for sure. Casual glam, yes. Cross colors, yes. Mhm. The mushroom, yeah. Yeah, if you didn't have an asymmetrical, then you would have the bang and the whole mushroom situation where so I wear my hair with a bang, maybe because I'm stuck in time a little bit, just a little bit. I just love a bang, and but it doesn't I don't have it where the sides like nearest my face come in. But back in the day, it would be all of it would just be rolled up under, using those sponge rollers and what have you. Right. I know it. Yeah, my bags that I have are I mean, I have all type of um especially Louis. And I remember my husband got me a big duffel bag, and I was like, like why would I what would I but what? I love that bag. I love it. I love it. The Banyang. Thank you, Slasher Chick. Yeah, the Banyang. I love my Banyang. For sure. All right. So now, okay, in terms of this, who else was emerging during that time was Run DMC, Beastie Boys. They came out around '86, and LL Cool J, and they brought hip hop to mainstream audiences. So, okay, we had Sugar Hill Gang, and then we had others coming through that we knew about. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Houdini, and all of them. But the ones that hit and stuck and continued was Run DMC and LL Cool J for sure. Beastie Boys, I mean, they hit because they were the first non black, I want to say, group, and so they were interesting, but they didn't have a long run like that. And they're probably still out here, because what happens is a lot of times with some of the hip hop artists, they do things behind the scenes. If they're not on the mic and they are older, they are still in the community. They're still relevant. They're still doing their thing. They may be writing lyrics, making beats, producing, have their own little, side hustle type label. They're doing something within the music industry. And then we had Public Enemy, we had NWA, and others that introduced more socially conscious and provocative lyrics. So when we talk about provocative lyrics, all I know is I could sing Rapper's Delight in front of my parents when I was 9 years old. um I couldn't if I was 9 years old and there was an NWA song or even Public Enemy, even though I did sing it. But sometimes you don't even know what you're saying, like that Marvin Gaye song. Let's what's it called? Let's Get It On. I didn't realize. No, no. What's the one when he's talking about the wallflower? Not the wallflower, but it's not Let's Get It On. It was one of his songs. It wasn't Let's Get It On. It was another one. Oh wait. I can hear the beat. Dun, dun. Oh, I want to party. I don't know how to party. Dance now. I'm singing the words wrong, but y'all get it right. I hope you get it. I don't want to lose it. Really get down. You remember that song? Well, I used to love that song, and I would sing it and dance, and I would be dancing. And one day, my mother like heard me, and she was like, "Oh wait, no, you can never sing that again." That's probably why to this day, I don't know the words because even though I still love the song, my mother was like, "You will never sing that song. You kidding me?" And as I got older, and when you think about it, it's like, oh, maybe that's not appropriate for an 8-year old. But yeah, rap songs in the beginning, Charlene, you could sing them in front of your grandmother. But these songs now, oh, not so much. Not so much. All right, let me see. Um, all right, it's down walking down memory lane for sure. I know it. Yeah. And it is true, that's what it was. Yes, got to give it up. Yes, I'm telling you, I used to love that song, and I still do. If I hear it, I'm like jamming to it. I don't know the words though. Don't know the words to this day, and I know words just back in the day songs like you would not believe. I'm telling you, yeah. And my mother was like, I mean, if it was a record and she could have scratched it all up, she would have. She would have pulled that needle all the way across. So, all right, let's see. And then the mainstream success for hip hop really came in the 1990s and 2000s. And so when Charlene's talking about Run DMC and such, that's when Run DMC started in the 1990s. And hip hop diversified with subgenres like gangster rap, jazz rap, and southern rap. And then artists like Tupac, Biggie Smalls, Jay Z, and Eminem achieved massive commercial success. So, they broke through. And the great thing about hip hop is it's the gift that keeps on giving. So, it's like it recycles itself. So, even though Sugar Hill Gang started way back when, there's people that are being born now that will know about Sugar Hill Gang. They'll know Rappers Delight. They'll know um who well, they'll know who Tupac is for sure and Biggie, but they'll know Run DMC. They'll know the old school Salt and Pepper, Queen Latifah, MC Lights. They'll know all those people. And y'all, let me tell you, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, I was at this club. I don't know. I might have been in college and home for the summer or something. And I'm at the club. I'm at this club called Bentley's, dancing, having a good time, out of my business with my girlfriends, having a good time. And I'm dancing with this guy, and we exchanged numbers, nothing to it. He called me a couple of times. I think he might have even came out and took me to dinner once. And then I get a phone call, and this is back, I mean, I could have had my own phone by now, but since I was in college, I didn't. Not my own cell phone, because cell phones were not a thing. Beepers weren't either really at this. Well, maybe beepers were, but definitely not having a cell phone. So I had my house phone. That's who. If you called me, if I gave you my number, you get my house number. My mother or my father could answer the phone at any time. Listen, I'm sorry. Sidebar. Let me just write myself a note so I don't forget this. Hold on. Her name is. So one time in third grade, and I had a bike accident. I was riding a bike and my friend she was running beside me. This is brilliant, a brilliant idea. And I was taking her home. My mother told me not to do it, but I kept asking her to. And then finally my mother was like, okay, go ahead. And oh my goodness, when I tell you I had the worst, I ran into my friend and flipped over. It was a whole big situation. And her mother had to bring me back home. I was all broken up, bleeding. And my mother was waiting right at the door. She knew. And from that moment on, I promise you, from third grade, if my mother told me something, I listened. I was like, this woman right here, she knows something. And so, but that wasn't it either. Hold on. Oh, okay. So I was out of school for like a week, and this boy who was like a bully to me, low key, he called the house like he was concerned. And I was on the phone. He was asking me like how I was doing and everything. And my father picked up the phone. What? And my father said, "What do you want with my daughter?" We all hung up. Like, so I didn't have to worry about having guys call my house till I was like 16, 17 in real life. My father said, "What do you want with my daughter?" Like, what? And I'm glad that he did that. That was, that's real talk. And that's the kind of stuff that unfortunately my husband has done with my daughters in the past too. But I digress. So, all right. I'm at the club. I meet this guy. We exchange numbers. He comes to Jersey. He lived in New York. He comes to Jersey, takes me out to dinner one time, nothing to it, just whatever, bring me home, and that's it. And cool, whatever. So I'm home one day, the phone rings. I'm minding my business as usual, and my mother answers, and she was like, "Sherry, um, the phone is for you." And so I was like, okay, and I get the phone, but my mother was real cautious, kind of like, I don't know. And you know what? And I wish if my mother was you know what? I should have asked my mother back then because my mother, so much happened even after that in life. My mother probably would have been like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. So I should have asked her at some point shortly thereafter, like, what did the person say to you for you to like be like, Sherry, I think this is for you, or, whatever. So basically it was MC Light calling my house telling me to leave her man alone. I was like, what? Like, I didn't even know. And it was just the craziest thing because I was like, it's not even anything. And she was like, I don't care if it's not anything. It seems like something to me. Just leave my man alone. Oh, all right. Who knew? So, okay. So I digress. That was that. All right. That's so wild. I just remembered that. That's so crazy. All right. So you never know who you might meet out here in these streets, so be careful. Whew. All right. Then the modern era, we're in the modern era right now, and that's the 2000s to present. So it's this whole decade, this whole time frame. And I'm wondering what it's going to look like beyond this. Like the next era will probably happen in around 2030. It's probably going to have something to do with technology and, and really, if you think about it, like the bands like the Zap band and stuff like that, they use a lot of technology back then. So I'm thinking hip hop is probably going to take on some of that, and that sound is probably going to change a little bit. And hip hop became the most popular genre in the US by 2017. And this genre continues to evolve with subgenres like trap and mumble rap. Mumble rap, I probably could do mumble rap. I probably I probably could do that. I probably could do mumble rap. Maybe I'll try that. But yeah, so that's that's a new thing, but trap music is a new thing, and so that's just it. So throughout history, hip hop has profoundly influenced fashion, language, and global culture. So it transcends the musical roots to become worldwide. I mean, these roots are so deep and they are worldwide. Everyone loves hip hop in some form or fashion of it. So I did have some questions about when did you come to love hip hop, but I want to rewind even back further and talk about roller skating because that was brought up by the Lily YQU. And let me tell you, that's what I wanted to talk about because there was this place called the Rink, and it was in walking distance to my house. And my one of my dearest friends, who actually was my roommate all 4 years in college, and my maid of honor, was with me when I met my husband, the maid of honor at our wedding, and she lived like three houses away from the Rink. So after we would leave the Rink, we would go and sit on her front steps and just watch like all of the fly whips go by. I remember LL Cool J was walking and someone stopped in front of her house to pick him up. I guess he must have had an argument. It was like, I'll just walk to the bus stop or something. I don't know. But he was literally, and we knew it was him because he had a Kango on and he just performed. So that's the thing. The Rink was that place, y'all. So on Friday, and I think it might have been Saturday too, but for sure on Friday nights, yes, you would roller skate. I had my own skates. I had white roller skates with red heels or red wheels, a red big pom pom with the bell in it or whatever. You can rent roller skates there. Of course, they had a practice rink. They had a food kind of situation court thing. Some people roller skated. It was always jam packed, like imagine the biggest club, the biggest dance floor, and they had the DJ booth was in the center, and in the center they had this other smaller rink where people would do kind of tricks. Then they had a carpeted area in the center with seats so you can go in there and sit down and chill. They always kept the lights all the way down, and they would have some colorful lights splashing around, but it was a thing. I mean, we would get down. And then at a certain time, I'm not sure, maybe 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I don't know. When you're young, you don't know what time it is, really. You really don't. You just know what time your mother's picking you up. Because if you don't know, if your mother's like my mother, first of all, she's coming in. She's wearing a trench coat over her nightgown with rollers and a scarf on. And she's coming in and she's telling them, because she can't call you, so she has to come in. And so she's telling them that tell my daughter that I'm out here. And they will make the announcement on the from the DJ's booth, because they don't know where you're at, so they have to get on the microphone, so now everybody knows. So you don't want that. So you know what time it is when it's time to leave. You always, I mean, you have no watch on, you have no concept of time, you don't see a clock, but like 10 minutes before your mother's supposed to come pick you up, it's 10 minutes before. You're like, oh wait, what time is it? Wait, is it almost whatever time? Is it like 12 o'clock? What time is it? And you listen, you making a dash for it. And I don't know why. And I would tell my mother, like, Mom, you don't have to park right in front. Like, you can be down a little bit. Because she would bring like my father's the truck to my parents' business. And then my dog would be in the passenger seat riding shotgun. So me and all my friends would have to go in the back of the van. It was just always a situation. Always. So yeah. Oh boy. Anyway, so at some point, because I don't know what time it is, they would have a intermission, and it would be no more skating. So everybody had to either take their skates off, return their skates, do whatever you had to do. And they had lockers, so I would always have a locker, for my shoes. So I would just put my skates in there, and then have my sneakers or whatever on my shoes. And really, I didn't wear sneakers a lot. I did have Adidas, I had Converse, I had all those kind of sneakers. I had logos. You remember logo sneakers? You can change the color. It had these Velcro color things, and you put them on the side of your sneakers. They were, I don't know, they were interesting. But at any rate, I used to like to wear shoes a lot. I used to love the shoes that came in different colors, like pink and gray, pink, blue, and they have a big bow on the front, and they were flat. I used to love those shoes. Tan. I used to love those. But anyway, everyone would put on their shoes, get all spruced up again, and then that's when the party would start. And they would have the rappers like LL Cool J, Run DMC, Grandmaster Flash might take over the turntables, and they will perform in the middle of the rink, and we just all right there dancing and having a good time, jamming. I'm trying to tell you, jamming for real. So that was how that was. And so the rink was a place, and it's unfortunate because it's not even open anymore. They tore it down, and so it's not even, if you didn't go, you didn't know, and you don't know. So it's unfortunate, but it served as a performance venue for emerging hip hop artists, hosting shows by prominent acts like, again, LL Cool J and Run DMC. The rink functioned as a social hub and cultural center, attracting large crowds from New York due to its spacious 33,000 square foot layout. It provided a platform for rising musical artists to showcase their talents and gain exposure, particularly in the early days of hip hop. And the venue helped popularize hip hop culture in the suburbs. So the rink, I mean, it was in this, it's unbelievable that it was like right there, because it was right in the middle of the suburbs. Like I said, my best friend lived like 3 houses away from it, right there. Um, and so it brought the genre to a wider audience outside of urban centers. And as a roller skating rink, it combined music, fashion, and social interaction, which are all key elements of hip hop culture. The rink's importance in the North Jersey hip hop scene was comparable to Studio 54's influence, highlighting its cultural significance. And it hosted DJ performances that controlled the soundtrack and introduced new music to the crowd, helping to spread hip hop's musical influence. So when it came to hip hop and where I would hear it, it would be there. And I started going to the rink in middle school. So all this was starting, I was in middle school. It started when I was younger because when I was, trying to learn how to roller skate, of course, I did it initially on the streets. And that's the funny thing. Nowadays, the kids go to the rink to learn how, or roller skating rinks to learn how to roller skate. They don't really roller skate out in the streets. But when I grew up, we had to learn in the streets how to roller skate before we would go to the roller rink. It was almost like we didn't, back then they didn't have the walkers. You know how they have now. If you don't know how to roller skate, they have those walkers and you can use those to help support you as you go around and all that. No, you're gonna fall. That's it, period. If you don't know how, you're gonna hurt yourself because we don't have no safety net. But so you, at least where I'm from, that's how it was. You wanted to know how to roller skate before you went up in the building. So the only place you could practice is out in the streets, going down hills and such, which is probably more. In my neighborhood, we didn't even have sidewalks, so you in the street. You really are on the street. That's so crazy. All right. Ooh, let me tell y'all. Um, let me see what. Let me check the skating rink was lit. You know what? I don't know. And we have a Facebook page. It's called the Rink, Bergenfield Rink or something like that on Facebook. And I know that at one point people were asking, like, does anybody have pictures, paraphernalia, anything? And because we didn't have cell phones or anything, we didn't have cameras either. Like, who takes a camera? Who back then we was just having good, clean fun. We wasn't thinking about posing for pictures, taking pictures. I never saw a camera when I was growing up in that way. I mean, I saw cameras at family reunions and birthday parties, but when I was out and about with my friends, actually, I can't say that because I have a whole photo album of pictures with me and my friends. But it wasn't the same as it is today. If what we had back then, if we had the technology and access to things like they do today, oh, the world wouldn't have been ready. I'm trying to tell you. Yes. I don't know if the owners are still living. That's a good question. And I'm telling you, I don't know why they would have to tear it down. 33,000 square feet. And at one point, they put like a Sears and Roebuck appliance store there. It was just so strange. Yes. Good. You still do it now? That's good. I used to love it too. Yes. Slasher Chick is on the move. She has her new roller skates. They're really nice too. Yeah, so we started with one guy in our neighborhood had a pair of roller skates. He had the kind that looked like sneakers, but they were actually roller skates. And I don't even know what size they were. It didn't matter. Everybody put them on at some point to practice. He had them. And it wasn't until, we had birthdays coming up or whatever the case may be when we got our own. But in the meantime, we was wearing Dwayne's roller skates and just taking turns. And he was generous. He let us do that. And in between, if you didn't have your roller skates, you was riding your bike. And everyone was just chilling, but we practicing. hmm I would love it. I want to say, let me see. The last time I roller skated was probably around 2006 or '07. And actually the last skates I was on was ice skates. And it was so much fun. We went as a family, and it was my son and my husband's first time on ice skates. Actually, I've ice skated since then because they have those ice skating rinks around the holidays in the winter outside. And I've taken my girls there. But I remember, my husband and my son both are those that will try it at least once. And it was the most hilarious thing. Oh my goodness. Seeing them go around, and they were holding, and my husband's really tall. He's 6'6", so on skates, he's even taller. And he was holding on to the top of the plexiglass, and kids were going under his arm like he was a bridge or something. It was the funniest thing. And then he and my son went around one time, and then they were done. They were like, no, we're good. we'll hold the bags. But it was fun. It really was. Yes. And I remember when I was really young, like 5 or 5 years old, and having the kind that had the straps, and you just put your own shoe and you put it, it's all metal, and even the wheels are metal. And, you just kind of like skirt, skirt, skirt on down. Yeah. Hmm. I know. And you didn't get a lot of film. And then after a while, I don't know where you would put it, but sometimes those Polaroid pictures would blend, and it's almost like they would melt and you couldn't even make out the images anymore. Oh, okay. At City. You know what? I went ice skating probably around 2012 or 2013, maybe 2014, in Rockefeller Center. And that was my first time ever doing that. And they have roller skating in the spring and summer. I don't know if it's all the time, but I know a couple of summers ago when I was in New York and we were down by Rockefeller Center, they had roller skating where they typically have ice skating in the wintertime. And you should see, maybe down by City Hall, they have roller skating now, where they have the ice skating. Who knows? I know a lot of people want to do more roller skating. Okay, yeah. And we have this place called Birkdale Village, they call it a urban burg. Wait. Urban, I mean, yeah, urban burb. So it's an urban concept in the middle of a suburb. And it is so remarkable. And in the middle, they have this whole situation. Oh my goodness. And they have a ice skating rink in the winter time, but in the summertime, and like now, it's turf, and they have a stage, and it's amazing. But they have stores, they have condos, they have cottage type homes, they have a golf course across the street, and then they have bigger homes and a retirement community. It's about 2 miles from a huge, beautiful lake. Oh my goodness. And when I tell you the stores, they have stores like Banana Republic in there, Black and White store. Let me see. They have Red Rock restaurant. They have Del Frisco's. They have a movie theater. They have, I mean, it's massive. It's wonderful. I love it. It's one of my favorite places to go. Okay. So let me see. Um, all right. So we were talking, well, Slasher Chick brought her up, Roxanne Shante. And if y'all had not seen the Netflix special on her story, I highly recommend it. It was so good and so accurate. And the person they had playing her did such a good job. Y'all, so there's many times when I fell in love with hip hop, but I particularly fell in love with hip hop with the UTFO crew. Tell me what you gonna do. When the UTFO crew came out with the record Roxanne Roxanne, and then Shantae, whose name is not even Roxanne, she made a diss track back to them. And when I tell you, that whole thing had us on pins and needles. It was like looking at Bridgerton. It was like looking at daggone, think of anything with a series and you're waiting for the next season to start. So every, few weeks they would come back. She would come and diss them, they would come back and diss her. Then some other random people try to be a Roxanne Shante and do their own thing, but it didn't hit like it hit with her and UTFO crew. But that's not even it. The best song that she did that just made me lose my mind, and every time I hear it, even now, it just does something to my spirit. It's like, so it just makes you want to listen. It's something to it when you can make a hit and there's no like instruments. The only instruments is the human voice. And it was her and Biz Markie. And the way the backstory goes, and I didn't even realize it until looking at her Netflix special or Netflix movie, she was scheduled to go on stage at a concert, and for some reason the DJ, maybe the money was funny, something to that extent, but the DJ was like, I'm not doing it. And he did not go on, but there was a whole crowd out there, and she still wanted to go and perform. And so Biz Markie was there, and that was her dude. And you know what? In real life, Biz Markie was everybody's dude, because my husband even has stories of Biz Markie being in his, around and in his crew at some point in New York too, in Long Island. He was everywhere. I would see him in Teaneck. He would be in Long Island. He'd be in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens. Everybody knew Biz, and he was cool with everybody. So he was part of her crew, and he was a human beatboxer. And R.I.P. to Biz Markie for sure. And hey, see, that's why I need to. Yeah. Don't let me. Okay. So at any rate, she she still went on, and Biz Markie was her music. I'm Shantae. He's Biz Markie. What? Oh my goodness, y'all. Why is YouTube so strict with music? I would love to play that song for you all right now. I would love it. But that song is so good. If you can just look it up. I mean, you can look it up on, YouTube or wherever your music is, whatever, and just put in Roxanne Shante and Biz Markie, and it's just that song is dope. And they moved the crowd with it. It's so good. So that's when I, really was like, yo, this is a thing. This is not one and done. This is going to stick. This has legs. This is going to keep evolving and moving. And so that's definitely something, a time. And that's what I wanted to share with y'all, Slasher Chick, when you have brought it up earlier. But I want you to think about hip hop. And if you aren't too familiar with it, like Charlene, I hope that we've encouraged you to do some more research about it. But think about, what was the first hip hop song or artist that captivated you? And I really have to say, for me, it was Roxanne Shante. But I mean, of course, it was so many other people and for so many different reasons, which is also a good thing. It's the same genre, but every artist brought their own special twist to it. And that's special about hip hop for sure. Everyone doesn't sound like the same person. Like in other things like R&B, you can't even tell. I don't know who is that. It sounds like such and such. You don't get that too much with hip hop. And also, can you describe the moment or experience that made you realize you loved hip hop? And when we talk about Friday, Fireside Fridays, which is basically what this is, we just talking out here. These are the types of conversations you really could have around the fire pit. So hopefully either you're writing this down with your pen and paper, that I hope that you have, or you are listening to this pre-recorded and are remembering some of these questions that you can ask your friends over dinner, as you're driving from here to there, when you're on vacation, if you're around the fire pit, in the pool. I know my daughters, they love to do like hot tub parties. So, if you're in a hot tub and chilling with your friends, talk about real things. It's a lot of conversations that can be had in a lot of different places for sure. Where were you physically when you first connected deeply with hip hop music? Where were you? What were you doing? Who were you with? Heck, what were you wearing? How old were you when hip hop became an important part of your life? I have to say, it was when I was 9 years old and in elementary school on that bus, because it made us one. We were one voice, all of us. We were saying the same thing, the same time, the same way. It wasn't a harmony. We were all one. We all, I mean, from the corniest to the most popular person, we all were one. That was the connector for all of us. Let's see. Um, okay. So your era was the diss series with Jay-Z versus Nas. Yeah, that was a big deal. And that was like on the verge of a little danger. We know that the Biggie and the Tupac was a little dangerous too, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. You know what? Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm going to have to go into my live and get it. I know I have it right here. Hold on, because I was looking for it because I have it on a playlist. Y'all, I'm telling you, YouTube playlists are really some good things to create. Let me see, where is it? Roxanne Shante and Slick Rick and Hey Young World. What? Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Wow. Let me see. You know who had a really good pass the mic? It was Big Daddy Kane and um Public Enemy, but it wasn't Public Enemy. It was the main rapper in Public Enemy. They had the best pass the mic ever. Hi, Big Rooster Show. How are you? We're just talking about some when did you first fall in love with hip hop? It's good to see you. Yes, Slick Rick. And yes, a children's story. That was the first time you felt you became deeply connected. I know so many people that was their song. That was their thing. Okay. So let me try and see if I can find that link because I don't know if it's going to show up for you if you're not a mod. So let me see if I can find it. And like my Ride or Die song is T.I. and Kerry Wilson, Got Your Back. And I loved it when hip hop and R&B combined, where it was the hip hop, like it was Busta Rhymes and Janet Jackson. Um, what's it called? Mary J. Blige and what's his name? When they started doing duets in that way, that was something special too. That was really special. I can't find it. I thought I had it on here. Oh, okay, here it is. So let me share it. I have to copy the link and go into this live. Okay. Oh, it won't let me go into the live. You know what? I'm going to put it in the description box after the live. So after this live, I will put the Roxanne Shante and Biz Marquis song in the description box for sure. All right. Yes, that children's story was really good. And Big Rooster is saying, "Oh, okay, all is well. You first fell in love was when Rapper's Delight dropped." Okay, see, so we was talking about Rapper's Delight. That was something very special because, again, it was first of all a song you can sing around your grandmother, the family reunions, family gatherings without a problem, and it just brought so many people together because the lyrics were just to the hip hop, hip it to the hip it hip hip hop, you don't stop, or rocking to the bang bang boogie, say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a tell. So it's just this whole, it was so unique sounding and it felt really good when you would say it. So uh, yeah, I have to agree with you on that. So the moment that you remember falling in love was listening to Too Short with your uncles, and you was way too young to be listening to Too Short. Yes. Yes, you were, but you remember who you were with. You were with your uncles. You probably enjoyed just being in their presence. And that's what it's all about too, bringing families together. And I'm sure they probably didn't prefer you listening, but it still was such a bop. They just was like, you know what? Just don't tell your mother. Grandmaster Flash. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Run DMC. And it was really a sad time that the DJ died and found out, what was it, his cousin or nephew was a relative that actually just recently found out who killed him. And that was, I guess you're not supposed to say that on YouTube, so alived him. I don't know why. That's so ridiculous that you can't say what you need to say, but okay. Yeah, Run DMC really helped with the clothes. That's when people started wearing, between them and LL Cool J. And I don't know if it's maybe because they were under the same umbrella, but that's where you saw the Kangos. That's where you saw the Adidas. And that's when you started seeing people, especially the guys in that era, starting to dress a little different. But they definitely brought those black leather blazers. That's what people started wearing with the jeans. And yeah, it was a whole big thing. And when Biggie's line when he says, "Forget the state pen," at Penn State, yeah. So you went to Penn State. So when that happened, when they played that song, with the dance floor go crazy? Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. It did. I know it did. I can only imagine. Whenever you hear something of a place that you're repping and you hear it in a song, oh yeah, that's the song. That's the anthem right there. Hmm. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know his daughter went to Penn State. That's interesting. Was she there when you were there? You couldn't tell your mother or your grandmother. Yes, that's so funny. How especially uncles will do that. Uncles will do stuff and then they'll be looking at around and they see the young ones lurking and they realize the young ones have been paying attention and they telling you like, listen, whatever you do, I don't know what I have to give you, some money, what? But whatever you do, don't go back and tell your mother. Don't tell mama, don't tell big mama, none of them. You didn't hear none of this. Okay, she's younger than you. I'm glad that she went on and is doing. Hopefully, she's doing well. Hopefully, she should be. Hmm. And also another one is was there a specific album, concert, or music video that sparked your passion for hip hop? So, I mean, I've gone to several hip hop concerts. All of our homecomings was hip hop, except for my sophomore year. I remember Regina Bell came and sang at our concert. I don't know why, but Kid and Play was there, and I remember my mother's sister. She actually at the time was dating Kid's father, and he was such a polar opposite. And I was like, okay, because I know in House Party they always would say, I think they said that Kid's mother was white, and I know his father is Jamaican. So they were right on that. But I liked Kid and Play a lot. They were fun. House Party movies were fun to see. And here lately, I've been seeing some interviews that Tisha Campbell has been talking about the experience on doing House Party and how much fun they all had. They were young, they were having a good time, and how she really wasn't a dancer like that, but she did well. So you can learn anything for sure. If it's in you, for you definitely can. So those were really good times, and I liked when hip hop was like that, and that brings back such fond memories for sure. um Let me see. That was your name? Okay, that you used to call her. Hmm. Oh yeah. See, oh my goodness, Lauren Hill. Mm-mm-mm. I mean, to this day, that album is still so relevant. That was taking hip hop to a whole nother level with the Fugees and if only. I mean, I don't know. Like sometimes, if you're not mentally ready for that next level, it can really make you pause. It can really paralyze you. It really can. And sometimes when you get into situations and you get paralyzed and you start missing things, you might miss a phone call, a date, a date where you have to arrive and produce something. When you miss those opportunities, after a while, so many missed moments, and then your relevance and your brand becomes affected. And that's what happened with her. I remember that year, everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, I want to work with you," and she would look at them like, "Really?" It's like she didn't even own her success. She did not own her gift, her talent. Mm. Oh yeah, and they call that the GHO, Greatest Homecoming on Earth. That's where my center child graduated from. And at first, I used to say it's not the best. It's not the greatest. I went her freshman year, I remember, and I was like, I mean, it's a lot of people and it's all right, but the greatest homecoming on earth is my homecoming. Like your own homecoming should be the greatest because you went there, you know the people, you have experience and memories about there. So it holds a dear spot in your heart, in your world. And so that's the greatest to you. But let me tell you, fast forward to what was it? Oh, we're in 2024, 2022 when they had their first homecoming since C19. When I tell you that, I was like, wait a minute. I'm not okay. I'm all right. I'm an Aggie Pride mom, so maybe you can give me that because this right here, that right there, that moment in time back then, that was the greatest homecoming on earth for sure. When I tell you it was thousands of people, but it was not just the people. See, some people get it mixed up. They see a club and they look inside. If it's not a lot of people, they're like, oh, it's nothing happening. But you're not listening. You're not really listening. It might not be a lot of people, but the DJ is doing his thing. I remember when we first moved to Charlotte, and my neighbor, it was, I forget what day or whatever, but my neighbor and her husband invited me to go to this club. They invited my husband too, but we didn't have a sitter, so he stayed home with our son. I went with them, and it was when Sunshine, I think her name is Sunshine Anderson, maybe. You know that song, Coming Home Late, Barely Beat the Sun. Listen, on my shoulders. And you know that song. I said it all before. No, I heard it all before. Now I'm getting sleepy. Okay. I heard it all. I heard it all before. That song. Listen, if you know a good DJ, they can mix the mess out of that song. We was at the club. It was a nice crowd. It was a new club. The DJ played that song and he mixed it and it was incredible. And there was no one on the dance floor. I looked around. I said, "What?" I went up to the DJ booth and I said, is this what they do down here? Like, do they not hear this? And he said, yeah, they pretty much. I went in the middle of the dance floor and I just started dancing. I just can't help myself. So to me, it don't matter, if it's large or small or whatever. If the music is a bop, I'm there. I'm in it. I'm doing it. And when I did that, I guess people felt sorry for me. I don't know, but the dance floor started flooding. People started coming on, especially my friend and my neighbor and her husband. They was like, you know what? We can't let Sherry be out here by herself. And so they came out and then everybody started coming. I'm like, y'all can't just sit around, stand around and hear this music and not do something about it. You have to do something about it. So yeah, A&T's homecoming. Yes, it had to be. I promise you, 50,000 people there. It had to be. It just, I've never seen that many people, us cousins, just in like on a college campus like that. Like it was crazy, but everything was amazing. They had what's it called, tailgating, and they had this whole row. It was, I mean, people were tailgating like they were in their backyards. They had carpet down, they had sofas, they had large screen TVs, whole kitchen sets. They had their tailgates laid out, and apparently they had to pay a good penny to have their tailgate to the schools, like a fundraiser kind of thing. And I guess, if you were wanting to be part of their tailgate, they probably had people pay them. I don't know. All I know is I made a lot of really good friends that day, and my daughter was just like shaking her head. I had more fun at her homecoming than she did. It was just, it was so much fun. And I wore my paraphernalia, so I was no stranger. I didn't meet a stranger. I had my sorors there too, and I was hanging out with them. It was a good time. I had a really good time. So, yeah, I have to. I'll say this: there could be more than one greatest homecoming on earth. It doesn't have to be just one. But that year, they were that for sure. Let's see. Not trying to promote on your channel, but I'm about to go live. Okay. On TikTok? How you do TikTok DJing? What's your TikTok name? Oh, same name. Okay. All right. So y'all, after this, go on to TikTok and check out Big Rooster Show. He is going to be DJing. And listen, it could be a whole vibe. We can continue this party. Don't let the party stop right here. Let's continue it on TikTok. I'm gonna have to find that. I know TikTok has a lot going on, so I need to figure that out for sure. Oh, okay. Unless it's a PWI. Yeah. Yeah, their homecoming's a little different. I know my son went to a PWI, and he's attempted to go to homecoming since he's graduated, and I'll be like, how was homecoming? And he'll say, like, especially if he goes after the game and after all that, he'll say, I didn't really see anybody, like they were gone. What? I don't understand that. So his TikTok name is Big Rooster Show. He also has a real podcast on Spotify too. That's really good for sure. All right. I just have a couple more to give y'all, and then, so that y'all can have these conversations with your friends in real life. All right. Oh, and so in terms of concerts, again, it was all those concerts plus this one where you see me pictured. That's at the Spectrum in Charlotte where the Hornets play. But it was an amazing hip hop concert. All right, did a friend, family member, or mentor introduce you to hip hop? And what was that experience like? And so, Slasher Chick, one of them could be your uncles. For me, it could be my brothers, because my brothers definitely um they were all into the music back then for sure. Okay, App State. After the game, we went to sleep. Yes, I'm telling you, because it's the party stops right there, right there. But HBCU is all week leading up to that weekend of events, of things, and it's just a whole vibe. App State. I was just in where was I? I was just up in by the Biltmore. So I was in Asheville. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's getting late. And last weekend I went to the Biltmore Estate. I love up there near App State, up that way, Boone, all of that. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. But App State has a really strong um African American, like, student body, and I think most PWIs do. I know Temple does, University of Maryland College Park, UVA has a very strong, culture in that way. Like most big schools, they do a lot of times. So another is how did the culture and social context of your surroundings influence your appreciation for hip hop? How did that influence your appreciation? I think it's because it was almost like having kindred spirits. Everyone got it. We all were craving it and didn't even realize it, that we needed to take, Strawberry Electric 22. We needed to take Good Times to the next level. And that was hip hop for us, for that next generation. What elements of hip hop culture, music, dance, fashion, art first drew you in? So was it the music? Was it the dance? We know those cardboard boxes started coming out. The fashion, we know we had those big earrings. We had the hairstyles. We had the sneakers and all that. What was it that first drew you in? Can you recall a particular lyric or beat that made you fall in love with the genre? Listen, it's so many. And I love it when I can remember them. That's why this concert, 50 years later, however many years later, 40 years later, whatever, and the fact that I still could remember all those lyrics was just, that's why my friend just sat down the whole time looking at me, because she couldn't even believe it. And the last one is, how has your relationship with hip hop evolved since that initial moment of connection? Have you been able to even pivot as it has grown, or do you find yourself reverting back? I find myself reverting back, but I still do appreciate the new that comes out. That's why when I do ask my kids, like, well, who's this? I'm really wanting to know. And like, why don't I hear this person? Where can I find them at? So I appreciate the good beats. I appreciate the unique lyrics and how they're presented. I really appreciate when artists can do all of that. So I definitely encourage you to do that personal reflection, storytelling, allowing, you and your friends to share your unique journey into hip hop culture. I think that this would make such a great conversation that would last as long as this live has lasted, almost 2 hours. So this is definitely meal worthy to discuss, right? Well, I hope you all enjoyed this When Did You Fall in Love with Hip Hop session with me tonight. If you're looking at this in replay, please comment in the comment section, and just, as we go through, and let me know your thoughts about a lot of the things that we shared. And if you enjoyed this live, please give it a thumbs up. If this is your seventh time coming, and I know Slasher Chick, you said it's about 7 times before someone, usually will decide that they want to stick with you. If this is like your seventh time or before even, and you're like, Coach Sherry's pretty cool. I don't mind. She ain't hurting nobody. She minding her business. Please, be sure to subscribe and join the team. I would love to have you, and hit the bell for notification. And I want to invite all of you to come to my Sweet 16 tomorrow. I've had this YouTube channel as Coach Sherry for 16 years. What? But I've been a content creator for the past 4 years. So I am definitely on the journey to evolve this channel, just like hip hop is evolving. I want to, keep it moving and evolve too. And I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm only trying to help. It's nothing but good news over here. And it is my pleasure to share with you the things that I know, the things that I've experienced, and resources that can help you along the way as well. This channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and real talk. I hope everyone has a wonderful night. I hope I've given you some great memories to kind of focus on and enjoy. So, again, thanks for being here, and continue to stay safe. I am Coach Sherry.